Charlie Shaw to find out what's new in the world and what's stayed the same. And there's a little bit. The last time Ferment spoke to you, there was a major investment in your brewery on the way. Some years on, how has that taken shape? Sam, we've now expanded twice since we last spoke to you. In our most recent one, we've rebuilt our brew house by adding a whirlpool and increased our fermentation capacity by 50%, as well as carved out the room for a barrel aging and mixed fermentation program. It should be really exciting. We're also going to be able to increase our output of kettle sours, which is particularly fun. Our capacity is increasing up to 3,000 something litres per year, so that's what the main thrust of our expansion is. Every expansion gives you the chance to double down on quality too though, so it's been fun to build onto our new equipment the kind of flexibility and quality that we've been wanting to experiment with since our last expansion. So that's pretty cool. So they're expanding, and kettle sours, an interesting beer. Obviously, as the name suggests, they're a really sour beer, distinctively sour, and it's not for everyone really. It's a bit like Marmite, you love it or you hate it really, you know, because they're really sour and kind of bitter, and it's not for everyone to like. So these are some of the so a little bit about them. So these guys here, these are every single person on their cans, as you can see here. Every single guy kind of pictures on their cans actually works, I believe, for the brewery. So these guys here, they're actually like part of the brewery team, and they've got their own like cartoony sort of like image. So you've got a pale ale here, you've got a house lager, a blueberry sour, which sounds really nice, and you've got a NEPA, which means New England Pale Ale. So New England Pale Ale is distinctively kind of orange and hazy, really tasty, really citrusy, lovely stuff. So yeah, these are probably some of the brewery guys as well. Yeah, they've obviously been questioning the brewery as well with these questions. Uber packaging, advertisement on the packaging. Really like the design on these, the lion. It's really cool. It looks a little bit, well, very much like a UK kind of crest. Something along the lines of some sort of governmental UK governmental kind of badge, or like a flag or something to do with the UK or something along those lines. Hoover mini cakes, it's coming home. So it's coming home is a kind of a classic sort of football, UK football kind of slogan. So the UK sort of uses it as like, if a football team plays at home, so their own home country, town, or city, they'll say it's coming home, especially if they win as well. So yeah, House Lager Hunter, that would be lovely to try. I'd love to try that, because House Lager is really nice. They're very, they originate from Germany. So House is a type of lager in Germany. Really nice, really kind of citrusy as well. Lovely stuff. These are probably the guys from Gibbsy Hill. I recognise this guy with the beard and hair. It's probably this guy here. Probably, I might be wrong, but has the same sort of hairstyle. Anyway, and beard. So you've got Salt next. So I personally have a really big kind of likeness for their beers. They're a fantastic brewery, I think. They make really good stuff. So they're based in Saltaire, in Yorkshire. So if you're not from West Yorkshire, the name Salt might seem odd for a brewery, but if you're in Saltaire, the word is everywhere. Back in 1853, a philanthropic textile magnate with an awesome name opened a huge new mill self-sufficient village built around the mill too, and called it Saltaire. His name was Titus Salt, and the aim of his mill and the surrounding village was to create better working and living conditions for the people who work there, which is really nice, especially that time of that era. Saltaire is now a World Heritage Site, and the people of Saltaire are incredibly proud of their village's early forays into progressive workers' rights. See, the name Salt makes a lot more sense once you've got a bit of backstory. So yeah, and this bit here, that really, really good beer is probably what you already know Salt for. So I personally think that they're really good, and you can see that they're kind of experimenting with a bourbon biscuit there. So they like to experiment with their beers. And this is the brewery I showed you earlier. Really lovely design that they have, and all these pink and orange lights and stuff. And their shop is just here. I'd love to visit one day. Really nice. They've won like a Siebert Gold and World Beer Awards, Gold, Alpaca, Double Dry Hopped IPA Awards. World Beer Award for the answer is none. They're black IPA. So you've got a bit of an what's this about? So this is either an advertisement or about a different. This is about Pump Country, I guess. The beer. This is a beautiful scene here. This must be up north somewhere. So there's whispers on the wind that the cask beer is big news in Trendy Town. But what if you were to live? What if where you live doesn't care about trends? What if where you live keg beers are still treated with suspicion? What if where you drink the beers have always been cask poured through the sparklers and served glassy and polished to suit the adage? If it ain't bright, it ain't right. Is it possible that your local pub, with its pool team, wonky toilet doors and clashing carpets, is at the forefront of craft beer's trend machine? So they're basically saying that instead of like delivery to your door with beers, in cans and bottles, they're saying that what if cask beer, so like beer in pubs, is also trendy as well. So there's a bit about that, and yeah, I personally like cask beers. They're good. They taste very different to bottled beers and canned beers. They've all got their different unique flavours and tastes, so I personally think that bottled beers taste better than cask, which is weird, but cask beers have a lovely kind of fresh taste to them because they sit in wooden casks for ages, or they don't have to be ages, but sometimes they can sit in cellars for ages, and they do sometimes get that wooden kind of flavour if you leave them in there for ages. So you'll sometimes go to a pub and you get this very subtle woody flavour in the beers, which is lovely. Just a little bit more about cask beers. You've got a particular one here, Morehouse's Penhole Pale Ale. Yeah, young people want an experience and they are willing to pay for it. Yeah, so I guess pub beers can be expensive, but if you're willing to pay for it, you'll get a really good pint. Beautiful scenery there. You've got a mountain right there. This must be like Peak District or something, or Yorkshire, the Dales or something. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Is the classic, the classic sailors shanty, as they say, like a sort of a song that they used to sing on the boats. You've got some people like kissing their sailor, kissing his girlfriend, yo-ho, and a bottle of Dipper, double IPA, that stands for sour seaman. Sour beer is, as I was saying earlier, is quite an interesting beer. Very sour, very bitter. Definitely an interesting one to experience. Not for everyone, really. You've got a group of sailors down here trying out cask ale into their flasks. Yeah. Jolly Jack tile with revered in the songs and in the theatre, especially for after naval victories. So, without reading it, I think that this must be like an old beer that the sailors used to drink, maybe. Doesn't say anything about it. Carrier, I'm looking for carrier. I'm sure it's in there somewhere, but yeah, that looks nice. Pale ale, it's got a ship on it as well, so obviously to do with sailors and sailing and boats and stuff. Ollie's modern life. Ollie, pet, unpacks the mysteries of the human heart and finds there's no shame in lamenting lost love. You will have deep-seated, entrenched feelings of love that will likely never go, ever. Okay. I think when I read this before, this was about like relationships and stuff, which is completely different to beers. But malt renegades. So the annual heirloom of terrier, barley, and malt Sipsium welcomes enthusiasts, experts, and radicals to hear about the past and future of grain. Okay, so this is all about malt, really, which is one of the very important ingredients when brewing a beer. Yeah, so the T word, does that mean truth? I'm not sure. But yeah, malt is becoming the new hops. So yeah, a little bit about that. So I think that malty beers, you can see the malts here actually. They're actually quite an important sort of aspect of a beer, and you can tell if a beer is really malty because it will have this beautiful taste behind it. So hops are important. They make stuff taste fruity or grainy or earthy, but malts are definitely a particular flavour, and it's just like having porridge or something. You can tell that there's wheat or oats and stuff in there. Yeah, oats, that's right. So the porridge contains oats and the beers contain malts, but you can actually get oats in beer. It's to do with, if oats are contained in beer, you get this lovely hazy colour and sort of nature about it. It's lovely. So I guess this is a little advertisement on Harbour Brewing Company. You've got these lovely kind of brew and tons, these big like containers that make the beer, and this lovely like steam coming out of this guy, like probably like chucking in stuff, hops or something, or malts. Warminster Maltings Limited, traditional maltsters. Contact us now for all your malt inquiries. Wiltshire. This is in Wiltshire. It shows you the location in the UK, which is kind of like down southwest. I think that's near Cornwall somewhere. So yeah, very nice. I guess you would need something like that if you was to brew your own beer. You'd need a maltster, because you need to put malts in beer. That's one of the kind of must-have ingredients to put in a beer. Just like hops or yeast. Yeast is another sort of key ingredient that you need. The surface has barely been scratched when it comes to malt, so there's a lot more to try out there. Deliciously Thistly, the world's best flavoured cider. So cider's very different. It's obviously made with apples instead of hops and malt and yeast. But it's another great another great drink to have, cider. Fermented apples, essentially, it's made from. And you can see this particular cider won the World Cider Awards, world's best flavoured cider. If you want to get creative, look to the past for inspiration. So the old beers will have, going back to malts, the old beers will probably have good flavours and ingredients in them. Ich bin eine Floridian. So Johnny Garrett pops the cap on sun-drenched interpretation of German classic. Okay, so German beers are really nice. We were warned before we arrived, but it still hits you like a wall when you step off the plane. The heat and suffocating humidity of Florida in summer drives tourists and locals alike to drink, but it only partly explains the state's native beer style. So yeah, I'd love to go to Florida and travel there. I've never actually been to the US, but I would love to go, and it's definitely on the list to travel. And Florida would be a lovely place to go. Them beautiful palm trees here. I'll definitely go one day, I think. So yeah, this is a Florida Weiser, kind of a twist, kind of American / German kind of beer, I guess, which is cool. These lovely colours here of these different beers in these fridges, and what's that? Cigar City Brew House, must be in Florida then. Got Wayne Wambles and Jonathan Wakefield. These must be like the guys that brew the beer and stuff. And the thing is about this company, this Ferment company, or the Beer 52, they actually travel to these countries to kind of get inspiration and source the beer, which is fantastic. And it must be a fantastic job to have, to meet all these different guys and girls, and have a look at these lovely beers. Try different ones as well, different flavours and stuff. So all hail to the ale. So it's early September and I'm in the Faversham Hop Festival, where the hop picking season has officially begun. An early part of the schedule is about to commence at St Mary's, where the vicar, who 20 minutes prior blessed us at 6-foot hot pocket on the festival's main stage, will lead a service celebrating Faversham's historic ties with our favourite flower. I am one of the congregation of about 40 and among the youngest by about 20 years. Okay, so there's a guy in a dress, what looks like some like bangles or something on his legs. There's a guy with drums here. There's people dressed up, all different kind of outfits and stuff. Yeah, looks quite fun, to be honest. Looks like they're having a lot of fun there. You've got someone dressed as a hop there, which is quite funny. Hop-related festivities can only begin with the right headwear. So this girl looks like she's wearing hops on her head, and this woman here is wearing hops on her head as well. So it's a celebration of beer, which is fantastic to see. The most important lagers ever brewed. So Municher beer, 500 years. That means Municher Reinheitsgebot. So Germans have a very traditional way of brewing their beer. It's kind of, I think it's just like 3 or 4 key ingredients: hops, yeast, and malts and water or something. Is that 4? I think so. Yeah, just a bit more about. We've got the Americans and their sort of beer and stuff, and Germany and America sort of collaborating to sort of make them sort of beers. You've got Blue Moon, which is a sort of a Belgian beer as well, isn't it? But it's brewed in America, I believe. That's a lovely beer, that is. Paulosa, UK's best Hauser style lager. So, a bit about the Edinburgh Beer Factory. Lots of awards there. Barrel aging, so that makes the beer more intense, more flavoursome. Did you know researchers at the University of Cadiz in Spain have found a way to speed up aging of brandy by mixing distilled wine with oak chips and blasting it with ultrasound? The ultrasound causes the plant cells in the wood to rupture, releasing compounds that otherwise would have mixed with the brandy much more slowly. That's cool. That's science for you. Bring the pain. Alistair Phillips joins Callum Stewart for a gastric grudge match against 6 chili-packed brews. All lovely. So, if you like a spice, these are the ones to go for. Very nice. You got 12.50 one. What have you got? Vision. That's definitely a fierce brewery. Dirty Sanchez. You got Tempest Brewing. Canadian. Is it Rhino? Nation. Oak Spice Port or something. Black Death Fallen Angel. Really cool stuff. Foraged ingredients. This month we're tackling foraged ingredients, something that's becoming more and more of a trend in the last few years. I live in East London and you think there isn't much to forage around here, although a quick trip down to the canal or closest park and you can actually surprisingly find a few things to snack on. Okay, that's cool. Pickled chai flowers, they're quite interesting. Wisteria and violet syrup, very colourful and purple, very nice. Wisteria is a plant, a flower I believe. Pomelia, so Beer and Cider Academy. Susanna Manfield's top 3 ciders. Got Hoxton Blend, Anything, and Beatnik Billy. Roll out the barrels. So it's about probably about more barrels kind of stuff. The importance of barrel aged beer as well. More information here about barrels and stuff. Barrel beer. Some more advertisements. So Brewing Services Limited. Okay, they actually teach you. It's like a course where you learn about beer, which is pretty cool. Well malted. Charles Farran. Crisp, the finest malt. Flavoursome, reliable, versatile, diverse, malted barley, wheat, oats and more. Pretty cool. Rebel Scum. Matthew Curtis asks if craft beer's divine era is coming to an end. I don't personally think so, but craft beer is a very trendy thing, I think, in the stores, especially. You see it all the time, even like the superstores like Tesco and stuff. Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, Morrison's. There's an increasingly large, growing section on craft beers. London Pride, really good beer. Never had this one. Jarl Fine Ales Farm Brewery. Gipsy Hill Brewing. Berners Guy Artisan Brewers and Blenders. Punk rock changed my life, it changed many other people's too. The most important thing to do is what feels right to you, instead of being a consumer-led imitation. Beer boffins, the number cruncher. So science and beer. You can really get some cool stuff with science and beer, Bullet and Beer forge new pairings. Bullet Bourbon. I've never tried that, to be honest, but I'd love to. Look at this lovely display of beers here. Really nice. Yeah, very nice. Very colourful. Alcohol free. This is kind of a growing trend, really, alcohol free beer, because it's a chance for you to drink beer and taste beer. But if you can't, like if you're driving, or if you can't have alcohol for like a particular health reason, you can have alcohol free beer, which is a growing trend, and I've kind of tasted myself quite a lot of different alcohol free beers now, and I have to say they're really nice, really good stuff. They're getting better anyway than what they used to be, so a bit more about it. Obviously a picture of a guy driving here, kind of saying that you can actually drive and have alcohol-free beer. One for the Road, our podcast is now live, so showing that they've got a podcast out, and probably on Spotify and iTunes, and then Soffle's Bitter Chips. So this particular edition came with a bag, and I have to say it was quite nice, but it wasn't this particular flavour. But this one's sun-dried tomato and basil Bitter Chips. But yeah, lovely, really, really nice stuff that is. And that's the end of the magazine. On the back is just a bit about lost and found beer, Juju Juice, DDH Session IPA, unfiltered, vegan, gluten free, and their website. So that was this Ferment episode of magazine. Hope you enjoyed anyway, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.